Where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? Carmen?
Where on earth is Carmen Sandiego?
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's original series, Carmen Sandiego.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
This is how I structure my reviews. In case you don't know, I give a short synopsis and then I talk about what I liked and then I talk about what I didn't like. And then I add in a fun tidbit fact or did you know at the end before I give my rating. Netflix's version of Carmen Sandiego follows Carmen, a modern day Robin Hood character who travels the globe and steals from this evil organization of thieves called V.I.L.E. She and her gang give back to the victims what they steal from V.I.L.E. Carmen is publicly perceived as a criminal mastermind by most law enforcement agencies. The story follows a similar arc to that of the 1996 Carmen Sandiego. It's a cartoon caper series in the vein of James Bond's Gadgets meets Kim Possible teenage angst. Add in the vibes of some really great films like Ocean's 11, Entrapment, and you kind of get into the vicinity of what Carmen Sandiego is.
There will be no turning back.
So my brother and I used to watch Carmen Sandiego back in the late 90s, and if I'm honest, I couldn't remember much about the series except for some of the basics, like Carmen had a red coat and a fedora type hat. She had some very cool gadgets. People always used to say, where is Carmen Sandiego? Especially one particular French cop. And I remember learning stuff about the geography of the world and some interesting facts that always had some like learning information in each episode. So I had to go back and do some research and watch a couple of the original episodes just to kind of do a refresher course because it had been a really long time. And I'm really pleased to say that this new series has kept the core mostly of what makes Carmen Sandiego. It's kept the core of what Carmen Sandiego needs to be Carmen Sandiego.
You can call me Carmen.
She has her coat, her hat, gadgets. The player is no longer a physical boy person, but is still the kid and like hacker boy.
Hola, Red. Where are we at, player?
Carmen's team consists of the player and the brother and sister that used to always chase Carmen in the 90s series. This time around, Carmen is voiced by Gina Rodriguez, who is no stranger to voice work or acting. Obviously, this new series has had to kind of go its own direction, and so far I think it's entertaining. It's not awesome, but it is fun. The first two episodes I found really interesting, actually. It's a two-parter. It's longer than the usual episodes, which are normally 22 minutes to 25 minutes long. But these two episodes, it's like a feature animated film, it's cut in half, an hour-long one. And it's the basic premise of how Carmen Sandiego came to be Carmen Sandiego. And I think this was a really great way to get this series started. It's a clever way to establish who the villains are and who the bad guys are, and how Carmen kind of gets stuck in the middle of all of this. So that by the end of the first two episodes, I was somewhat invested into her character and the other characters. All subsequent episodes follow multiple arcs. Carmen wants to take down V.I.L.E. and avoid the authorities that are chasing her. She wants to discover everything about her family. And these overarching storylines are kind of the backdrop to what is happening amongst what each episode does. And that's basically the typical heist episode. You know how Carmen Sandiego is meant to be. It's a modern day Robin Hood story, a caper. Every episode she has to go and kind of beat V.I.L.E. to this treasure that she's trying to seek with her team. And if they get there fast enough and quick enough with gadgets and her team, then she can give back to the poor or give back to people who need the artwork or this treasure and not fill the pockets of V.I.L.E. And that is basically the whole kind of premise of it.
Let's get this party started.
But where I think this series differs from that of the 90s one and what makes this one quite good, in fact, is that instead of the series focusing on where Carmen Sandiego is, which was the strapline for the 90s series, it focuses on who Carmen Sandiego is. This adds depth to her character I wasn't expecting to get from this animation series. All those questions I didn't know to ask in the original, this series focuses on. There are of course still heists and action sequences, but along the way you kind of get to see what makes Carmen tick. Where she came from, how she got her name and her coat, all of these things that makes this series really fun. It answers those questions and it kind of goes into depth of who the Carmen character is. And I thought that was a lot of fun to find out. What I did not like. The things I did not like are probably more of a personal opinion and not real faults at all. For example, Carmen is much younger in this version, which did throw me. I remember Carmen being quite a proper lady, a young woman, probably in her mid-20s, maybe early 30s.
Is my little surprise waiting for them at the scene of the crime?
This one, she's like teens, really early teens, so that did throw me a bit. Not that that matters. I mean, it is a series kind of aimed at the younger generation, at young teens, so obviously the reason why they've done this. Also, the animation style is very different. I love the original animation style. This sort of animation style was my childhood growing up, from like Ninja Turtles, Batman, X-Men, Carmen Sandiego. They all had the same animation style and kind of mood. The animation in this is not bad, not in any way. In fact, I do like it a lot. It kind of does fit the tone of what Carmen is now. And so I think they did need to change the animation because it's changed to fit where we are at. Although I do miss the kind of nostalgic feelings that I was kind of hoping to get from this series. And like I said, it's my personal opinion. I was kind of looking forward to watching Carmen Sandiego because I had those feelings and memories of growing up watching these cartoon series, and so it's not that. If you're expecting that, it's not that. It's a new version, and I think if you can separate that, which I am trying to do, then actually you'll realize that the series is quite good.
You want the whole story?
If you are a diehard fan of the original series, you may not like the changes from Carmen's age to her team to the style of animation, but if, like me, you are okay with some changes and you just have to kind of put those thoughts aside, you might find that this is actually quite enjoyable. It's definitely pitched at a younger audience, but I could totally see families watching this together as Carmen and her team fly across the world trying to beat V.I.L.E to all the shiny treasures. Did you know that Gina Rodriguez is going to be acting in a live movie adaptation of this series? So she must have done something right with her voice work, right?
A lady needs her tools.
Netflix have already prepared the way for the next 10 episodes after these first 10. So they obviously have some faith in the longevity of this series. I enjoyed it. I didn't massively love it. I'm hoping that there will be more character development in Carmen's team, in her kind of the characters that she follows along with in the next 10. Hopefully her story, her overarching story will come into play as well. I'm looking forward to see what they do with that. And so because of minor little irritations that are mostly my own, I'm going to give Carmen Sandiego a B. Thanks for watching my review of Carmen Sandiego. Let me know what you thought of the original, and if you're excited to watch this one. If you've seen it, let me know what you think of this new one. And if you enjoy my reviews, please consider subscribing and maybe hitting that bell. I really do appreciate your support. Without you, I would not have a channel at all. So thank you very much for kind of watching all my reviews in this one. But most of all, remember, live long and Tuesday.